the ahead of the bust. He tells him, look, it's a beautiful day. There's ice cream. And Wendell's like, what good is ice cream going to do? And Raylan says, a little treat for after. And so the note that I have here is, do you think that the cops get ice cream after a successful bust, like a little league team? They all go and they line up at the ice cream shop and all get ice cream and stand around talking about the game. Oh, did you see that? That was awesome when we did that. We hit that guy. It was really the best.
I think that that it wasn't Raylan like at the end of the last episode of the last season of the last series, like they were sitting there eating. He was getting ice cream with his daughter.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No. Raylan. I mean, the ice cream is a big part of Raylan's character, right? Remember, he lost Roland Pike.
That's right.
When he went to 31 Flavors.
That's right. To get ice cream.
So
that's good. Yeah, that's right.
I just thought the whole idea of a bunch of cops lining up at an ice cream cart after they arrest somebody and they have them in the car and they're all standing around eating their ice cream and the guy's in the car and he doesn't get ice cream. It just made me laugh. It's like a Far Side cartoon.
That's right. Well, technically it should be donuts, right?
Right. Yeah.
It should be at the donut shop.
But Raylan, so after the bust goes bad, Raylan thinks there's something fishy about that particular kerfuffle, and he wants to talk to Wendell about it. So he proposes the concept to Wendell. He's like, hey, look, he says, how does this guy keep getting lucky every single time? No one's that lucky. I've never seen this happen before. Somebody's not acting the way that they should be acting because of what's at stake here. And Wendell basically says, man, I don't even have an opinion on that. And says, even if he did know, he wouldn't care. So, shrug. That's basically the answer he gives back is, I don't know and I don't care. I'm not going to look into it any further. So, ACAB, in case you weren't sure, that's what that means.
Yes.
So he's just checked out. And so Raylan's left to kind of ponder and puzzle this out on his own. And he's got his plan B. And so what I was particularly interested in, I'm sitting there watching it. I'm thinking to myself, oh, he's going to do the trick he did before. So if you remember at the end of season 3 with Quarles, there's an episode about halfway through the season where Quarles kills Gary on his front lawn and tries to frame Raylan for the murder. And so the murder weapon ends up in Winona's freezer is where she finds it. And she gives it back to Raylan, who puts it behind his radiator. And eventually it turns up on Quarles after he loses his arm at Limehouse's pig shack. And so basically what happened was Raylan knew he was going to encounter Quarles, took the gun, had it on him when Quarles disarmed him, and so Quarles ended up with the gun. There's even a moment where he goes, I'm going to want that back when Quarles takes his primary gun, and then when he takes his secondary gun, he says, that one you can keep, and that's because it's his.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
he can keep it. And so I'm thinking to myself, oh, Raylan's on track to do the exact same thing again. He's going to, because we've seen this kind of repetition of tricks that have worked in the past, trying to do it again in this season of Justified, and so you think that's what he's going to do. That's how he's going to set him up, but that's not how he does it at all. He actually takes it to the restaurant with him, puts it in front of Mansell, and basically dares him to pull it out. He's doing a Tommy Bucks is what he's doing.
Yeah.
So do you think Raylan, do you think that's what he was going to do? Do you think that he was baiting Mansell to pull the gun from the thing so he could shoot him?
Well, we know that he's not above that, right? As far as like putting people in that position, but I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, somebody who's like, more experienced, wiser, and everything else.
Yeah. He keeps talking about trying to do it the right way, right? He keeps paying lip service to that, and he gets subverted at every turn. So to be fair, maybe there's some frustration shining through.
He's like, just screw it.
Bullets just whatever. So much easier.
Yeah.
As long as you don't get shot in the balls.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about Mansell here is I think before they sit down at the table, I think he thinks Raylan's full of shit. Like he thinks he's just a blowhard, a typical cop, like, typical cop nonsense coming out of his mouth. And then when he's sitting at the table with Raylan and Raylan's basically telling him, yeah, go ahead, get the gun whenever you're ready. I'm ready to go. If you want to go outside, we can go outside. You can look it up and even see, you can look and see it's loaded even, right? He's like being very sort of accommodating with him.
Yes.
Very encouraging. Like, let's get down to it. And I think Mansell is starting to get a little nervous, right? Because he's like, wait a minute, this is a level of confidence that only the truly insane or the truly exceptional possess. He's like, I have this level of confidence because I'm crazy as shit, but he's not crazy as shit. So maybe he really is exceptional.
And that has to be this showdown scene. It has to be one of the best in the series, or not in this season.
Oh, for sure.
As far as
absolutely. And I will give credit where credit is due to Boyd Holbrook here. He played it well. You could tell he started out feeling very sort of confident of his position in this sort of thing. Talking about Sandy smoking too much pot and all that. And then he starts to get nervous as the scene draws on.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely credit to him. And it's kind of it is as I think you had mentioned, it is kind of a callback to the very first scene of the first, of the original season 1. So it's cool. It's a really cool place. You're in the not the Continental, but you're in the Radisson. It's just cool. So
it was a cool scene. Kudos. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah. That was very well done.
Yes.
But since we're talking about Clement here, we're going to talk about how he's no Boyd Crowder.
I served with
Boyd Crowder.
I knew
Boyd Crowder.
Senator, you're no
Boyd Crowder. And we've already established that Clement Mansell is no Boyd Crowder. But let's talk about how in this episode, how he's no Boyd Crowder. So there's a moment early on when Bert presents a picture of Clement to Lonnie, and Lonnie has no idea who Clement Mansell is. And he's like, who is this? And Bert's like, oh, I was hoping you'd be able to figure that out for me. And it struck me because at this point in a season of Justified, you're not introducing the concept of Boyd Crowder to anyone, right? Like everyone who's involved in the story at this point in a season knows who Boyd Crowder is. They know him by reputation. They know him on sight. They know who he is, what he does. He's famous. He's infamous, right? Clement Mansell is not famous or infamous for that matter. He's just an unknown white guy who is causing chaos on his immediate orbit in Detroit. And so he doesn't operate on the same scale as Boyd Crowder does in Harlan County.
Yeah. Well, he's not as established, obviously. I mean, and he has been a while. We don't know exactly how long he's been away. Right.
True. It's been a few years, I think they said.
Yeah. So yeah. And it's just also the scale of this season as well. I mean, you don't have the 5 seasons or 6 seasons plus a movie to get into what Boyd did. I mean, he was from an established family in that area,
True.
Established crime family, and all this. So the scale, you're exactly right. The scale is exactly not equal.
Yeah,
as far as Boyd compared to Mansell,
and no one knows him even by reputation. It's an interesting sort of departure, right, from Justified, where everybody knew who the bad guys were, or if they didn't, they had some indication, right? Guy looks kind of like a Siberian husky.
Yeah, that's right. So, that's the other thing. There could have been a little tie in there, maybe with because that's where all the thugs came from. The Siberian Husky, from Detroit, who would go down to Harlan. But we haven't really seen any of that. I mean, the only other criminal element has been the Albanians.
Yeah.
So.
I half expected at some point, I think I mentioned this on probably one of our preview shows, I half expected that Raylan would tangle with the Detroit mob again in order to get information or something. Like we would get a visit from somebody who we knew, although pretty much everybody we knew in the Detroit mob is dead. So
Is dead.
Yeah. So maybe not, but
are there any other Tonins left?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Or maybe one of the somebody ascended and assumed power, or I don't know. That would have been a cool little tie-in if they did that. But you know, maybe that was just done on purpose as far as like trying to keep it separate.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there definitely was a concerted effort to not, have this self-contained story bleed out into the rest of the larger Justified universe. So
yeah.
Okay, let's see. What else do I have here? Oh, Dell. Poor Dell. Dell's the guy who owns the apartment where Sandy's been living and now Clement's been living. And he stumbles across Mansell in his kimono and gets a bullet for it. This is what happens when you want to fuck Sandy Stanton, people. This is what happens. This is the price you pay.
Yeah. I thought that guy was, not interested in the ladies.
Oh, not interested in ladies.
Yeah. I mean, that mustache, that.
Oh yeah.
Handlebar. It's not even a handlebar.
It was very
mustache.
similar to the to Sweetie's boyfriend's mustache.
Yeah. And then who has a kimono? Well, I guess Mansell does.
Well, to be fair, it was in a frame.
Yeah, that's true.
What's funny is that he immediately recognized it. Like, would you, when you're used to seeing something in a certain tableau, you sometimes don't recognize it when it's not in that tableau.
Yeah, because it's in different context. Somebody.
So wait, is that my kimono? Like, that would have been, I think, funnier as if like later on he was like, wait, is that my kimono? So. I also noted that Clement was taking his extortion lessons from car dealerships, which seems fair.
Oh yeah.
He's like, you go to buy a car and, you agree on a price and then you get down in the room and they're like, oh, it's going to be an extra couple $100 a month for the extended warranty. And that's how he kind of accounted for raising the price on Bert during the negotiation. I'm like, well, that sounds about right. Actually, that's a pretty good lesson to take from your, extortion relationships. All right, let's get to our final segment here. Are you gonna shoot him too, Raylan?
I was telling my friends this morning how yesterday he come to me and if you don't get out of town in 24 hours, I'm gonna shoot you on sight. Fire now!
Are you gonna shoot him if you catch him?
I'll kill 4 of you before you even clear your weapons, and I'll take my chances with the other.
If you get the chance, shoot him in the nuts.
I don't pull my sidearm unless I'm gonna shoot to kill.
Are you gonna shoot him too, Raylan? And just like the whole season, Raylan hasn't shot anybody. He didn't. Did he shoot anybody this season? These 2 episodes?
He has not.
So he's avoided the paperwork and what was that quote?
Self-recrimination.
Self-recrimination. So yeah, in fact, Mansell is the only serial killer here.
Yeah, he's got 5 bodies now?
5 bodies, yeah. God, send in
6. Sorry, 6. The guy he threw off the roof.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
6,
that. Yeah, that's it's a problem because Raylan should be shooting people.
It was. Yeah, Clement deserves to be shot at this point.
He does. He does. And maybe that's because I don't have any sympathy. I think I mentioned that earlier. Like he should have gotten God already, right?
Yeah.
Just the way he acts and everything else. It should have been but I don't know. He
fall into the Norbert school of this guy's gotten away with so much shit. I don't care if he goes away for something he's not guilty of. Yeah.
It should be. I guess we'll find out next episode.
Yeah,
unless he ends up being like the Joker and he doesn't get it.
I have a feeling he doesn't make it out of the episode alive. That's my prediction for the finale. Is he ends up dead? Okay.
I'll take. No, I was gonna say, why don't we place a wager? I have no idea though. Most likely he's gonna get got.
I mean, the story that Ray Cruz told is the way that the book ends. So
is it?
It's not going to end that way.
Okay.
One would expect, at least, it's not going to end that way because they've kind of spoiled it. So